that energy might be directed more towards those people who were jailed for taking part in the January the 6th attacks, and maybe sort of trying to get them out of prison rather than targeting the likes of Liz Cheney.
Sticking with Donald Trump, he has been talking over the weekend to NBC, the NBC network in the USA, talking about those who were jailed after the January the 6th riots, the insurrection. We said he wanted to see them released. Well, he's made that point before, but then he went on and spoke about wanting to see locked up the members of Congress who investigated his role in that January the 6th insurrection. Just have a listen.
Cheney did something that's inexcusable, along with Thompson and the people on the Unselect Committee of political thugs and, creeps. For what they did, honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think everybody anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
Okay, so that's Donald Trump on NBC over the weekend. He's not saying he's going to set the FBI or the Justice Department on these Congress members, including Liz Cheney, but he thinks they should be locked up. Alistair Dawber is on the line from Washington, the Washington Correspondent for the Times. Hi, Alistair.
Hi, John.
I would say extraordinary, but nothing's extraordinary.
Well, no, and we've heard this before, right? This isn't the first time that Donald Trump has suggested that those who investigated the events of January the 6th, now almost 4 years ago, in which he was more than implicated in the riots at the U.S. Capitol, should be locked up. I mean, Liz Cheney has been, or was, a thorn in his side throughout parts of his presidency, and then certainly in terms of his attempts to get re-elected. A former Republican congresswoman, she made herself one of his biggest enemies, and I think that it's not sort of unexpected now that he's hinting that she should be, well, sort of face the consequences of what she did in his eyes. Now, I think it was telling there that while he said he would like to see these people locked up, I'm not sure that when Donald Trump returns to the White House on January the 20th, he's going to expend too much energy in making that happen. He's got a pretty full agenda. He's got lots of things he wants to do. In terms of the Department of Justice, I think that energy might be directed more towards those people who were jailed for taking part in the January the 6th attacks, and maybe sort of trying to get them out of prison rather than targeting the likes of Liz Cheney.
Yeah. So as far as the likes of Liz Cheney is concerned, Alistair, insofar as objective opinion exists on these questions, is there an objective lawyer who has a view on whether it would be possible? I mean, the Congressional Committee was acting within its authority as a Congressional Committee. I mean, how do you lock anyone up for doing that? What federal court would say that's okay, yeah, you're guilty, go to jail?
Well, that's exactly the point, right? I think that that's one of the things that Donald Trump will come up against if he wants to pursue these people. I mean, Liz Cheney was a congresswoman. The committee was inaugurated by Congress. It has a legal basis, and it's just that he didn't like the findings. I think, as I say, I'm not sure Donald Trump will waste too much time in pursuing political enemies once he gets back into the White House, given that the electorate has decided that he's won, his view is better than theirs, and he defeated them at the ballot box. Yeah,
but I suppose just in case you have this argument on whether it's a good idea to pardon these Congress members as well as others that the Trump Justice Department, FBI and other agencies may go after. And that is an active conversation, isn't it?
It is, and of course we've seen Joe Biden pardon his son in recent days. Traditionally, presidents exercise their right to pardon right at the end of their presidency, often the day before they leave the White House. There has been quite a lot of discussion in the media here about President Biden pardoning the likes of Liz Cheney, but also people like Anthony Fauci, one of the key architects of the response of to the coronavirus pandemic. He has been criticised viciously by Trump and other Republicans over lockdown mandates and so forth. I think that it's more likely we might see preemptive pardons to the likes of Anthony Fauci, just to ensure that he's indemnified, if you like, against any legal action once the Trump the Trump administration comes back in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, it makes our politics, Kate and Adam, look like an oasis of serenity.
I did read somewhere that apparently this is a thing in America, though, that outgoing presidents attempt to pardon people, and it's almost like a way of cleansing the debate. They do it so that you can stop the incoming administration from tying itself up in knots in legal challenge. Although I'm sure in Trump's world, I'm sure I'd try and find a way around it, but that it has been something that's happened in the past.
Yeah, that measure of goodwill is probably absent in this case.
It has been suggested that everybody who in his various rantings Trump has said that he's going to go after should be given a preemptive pardon. Some people are saying if you're going to pardon Hunter Biden, then, pardon everybody or protect them against being charged, because it's not actually a pardon for anything they've done. It's an insurance policy against them not being prosecuted. And I do think it's interesting, the comment there, that it does appear that he wants to move forward. I mean, underneath the verbiage, he was basically saying, as far as prosecuting all these people, that's not my problem anymore. Yeah. That's that, other people, good people, they can see if they can work it out.
Yeah.
And it does appear that the focus, if it's anywhere, is going to be on the Jan 6 people in saying they did nothing wrong.
I don't know if Alistair Dawber is still with us. Just a last word from you on that aspect, Alistair. The idea that Donald Trump, sometimes his bark is worse than his bite. Is that your feeling now? But then you look at who he's putting in key spots. When you got a Kash Patel as the FBI boss, when you got the guy who's now lining up at least to be the Attorney General, and others along the way too, it does sound as if the threats mean business, doesn't it? Or what do you think?
I think you're right. I think Adam's right. I think that the bark is worse than the bite. Donald Trump used a lot of this rhetoric over the last 4 years to secure, first of all, the Republican nomination and then win the election. We've seen it on other issues as well, things like abortion, where he was chasing the Republican nomination. He was very hard on abortion, supported some very tight restrictions, 6-week abortion bans, things like that. Since becoming the candidate, since winning the election, we've seen him sort of move, I think, from some of these more, what people might say, are more extreme positions. One thing to bear in mind as well, when Donald Trump became president in 2016, he got off to a very, very slow start. He had no experience of government. He didn't know how to pull the levers of the administration, and essentially wasted 2 years when he first got into office. I think he's determined not to do that this time. He wants to, as he said in that clip there, he wants to get American energy back on the agenda. He wants to sort of solve problems like Ukraine. He wants to stick tariffs on China, Mexico, Canada. I think that's where we'll see his focus. Some of these arguments of the last 4 years, who should be prosecuted, people have gone after him. I think he can probably put them to one side. Yes, and if people like Kash Patel want to pursue them, I don't think he'll have a particular problem with that, but I don't think it's going to be the focus of his agenda.
Yeah, the signs are, the evidence is, the reporting is that the bureaucracy of Washington is getting ready for a full-on purge.
Oh, I think so. I mean, you look at some of the things he said about the Department for Education. I mean, he's appointed a new education secretary, or nominated a new education secretary. I think her job will largely be to dismantle it. He's brought in people like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to run this efficiency unit. Their job will be to look at how much Washington spends and to try and cut that significantly. I mean, Elon Musk is talking about taking $2 trillion out of the federal budget. I mean, whether that's possible or not, who knows? But there will definitely be people working for Trump and in the administration who really do see, as he would say, draining the swamp as a top priority. I think we might see Trump's focus on other things, though.
All right, Alistair, great to talk to you. Let's talk again very soon. Alistair Dawber there in Washington for The Times.